remember everything being blue on that street.
Oh, well, it was a really sunny day. So when I went to get your special picture of your special place in Aberystwyth, to keep our little tour of Aber Town going, I waited only for a sunny day, which has taken me a long, long time to find a nice sunny day for a place like that.
Camped out there for 6 weeks to get one sunny
to get one sunny day picture to look
one
at.
sunny hour usually. That's what it usually is. Oh,
That's all.
Oh, it's gone.
That's all it needs to be. Don't need long, do you?
No.
You're all very corporate today with your new posh MacBook.
I've been out on one of those big wide things. I think it's called a motorway. Yeah.
Motorway. I don't know what they look like.
Up north. Yeah. It was good. All went well. So some questions that came out of that as well that we need to talk about really about I need to get a bit more understanding about shop floor data collection, what we can do in that area, and how it works with the scheduling system. Wouldn't be a bad plan for me to have a bit more knowledge about it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, it picks up a bit where we left off last time, doesn't it? Of kind of the next obvious step that you go to after you have planned your job. You've got to go and actually do it, haven't you? Mm-hmm. Kind of makes sense with it.
Seems to make sense doing it in that order rather than doing it and then planning it.
You might even want to report some costs back, you know. And
that'd be a good plan.
That'd be really handy if it could tell you what it cost you to make the stuff as well.
Oh, and here's a thought: who would do such a thing? Oh, us. Okay, cool. So I don't know. Have you got a demo or something set up that you can show the different types that we do, depending on which departments, or are we going down a different route?
Yeah. Okay. So we can do a bit of magic. He says as he quickly opens up another magic little screen just to help us out. So
let's share your screen as well. Oh, there we go.
Let's go and have a look at the screen. So first off, just remind ourselves where we were looking at this. So this is like your production plan, the stuff that comes out of the system, all of your tasks that you're going to have to do on your job. Mm-hmm. So you're kind of asking about different forms of data collection. So there's the manual data collection, if you like, and that might be for somebody who might be doing some pre-flighting, some DTP stuff, or somebody right at the end who's packing a box who just wants to click something quickly and say they've done this job. Nothing complicated. So this would be the kind of screen that this person has. So it's a simple login screen. They get a task list of the things they need to go and do. They process their tasks, they press go, and it's done. So this actually is our little job.
Stupid question, but that's based on the schedule, yeah? So whatever you've scheduled, it comes in that order.
This is based on the schedule, yeah. So you can see the time. This is current time. It's like in an hour's time. It's looking to do this task, and it's for this job. So we'll just keep the job number in our heads while we go through it. The job number there, 4531.
Yeah.
The task has got a unique code here, and that is this task here, and you just start it. You could pull some plates if you want to pull some plates. You could do that as an option within it and say, like, I've made some plates out of it. You don't have to do that. You could let that pull automatically. But if you want to let operators enter data, like I scratched a plate when I ran it, you can do that.
So you can put its plates in there and everything like that if you needed to.
Correct. Yeah, all different size plates. They'd be automated to the machine you've gone to. That's all kind of linked. So it says task started successfully. Actually, task is finished as well. So it's not many presses of buttons. It's just finds it on the list, press go. And it updates the system back here. So if we just refresh the browser page, we see that activity there, that CTP one has changed color because it's happened and it's done. Cool. So that's your pretty standard. Anyone can use that, any place, any factory.
So yeah, what you're saying.
A few different ways you can set it up, but that's just a simple, quick way for somebody like a pre-press operator.
There's not a lot of effort involved in that. They can just press a button, put the job in, hit the go button, done that. So they could even do that while the machine was still running anyway, couldn't they? Yeah. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's designed. I mean, what did it take me to do it? 15 seconds or so. It's not a big thing to go into, and they'd have it open on a tab and just sitting behind what else they're doing.
Fair enough.
So let's go on a little bit. Let's look at this one. So this is a press. and maybe this is like a typical, slightly older press. It's not JDF enabled. So JDF's a whole nother thing. We talked about that a bit before. But let's assume you've got something old that's not JDF capable, and you're going to put a little sensor on it, or you're going to use a sensor that's on it, just tap into a signal and get data off it automatically.
And we do that for them, yeah? We can put those sensors on there.
Yeah, so we put the sensors on, we run all the cabling, we link it back, and we connect it up to the MIS as well.
Okay, cool.
So this operator view is a little bit different. So here I am starting my shift, and there's that job number 4531. Again, it's linked to my schedule. So it's looking at what day and what time I'm going to go and run this. And this will update. Now I've done the previous action, this one will update and come forwards. But when I'm ready to start this job, again, it's a simple little, just press a play button and we start running. So this is now on the machine. So I'm doing this on a litho press, but you could be on a folder, you could be a binder, you could be a laminator, anything. It's the same kind of thing. When you start the job, you're in a make ready phase. So you're loading plates, you're loading paper, you might be setting plates on a folder, you might be moving bits around on a folder to set a configuration on it, you might be setting your hoppers on a binder. Those kind of things are your make ready. And as soon as I click start, this little timer started going. So it's feeding in live time exactly what I'm doing on this machine. Yeah. So the other thing that it is doing is, because it's got a sensor on it, every time this machine does something, it's going to pick that up as well. So you've seen my machine starts moving, and you've seen it's got a speed coming in, and it's moved to a little make ready 2 phase. And what that is just to say, okay, you've loaded your plates up, you've set what you think is right, now you're going to run 100 sheets through to see what it looks like. Or you're on a binder and you're going to run 2 copies through and check the knife's okay. That kind of thing is when the machine's now turning, it moves to this second make ready stage.
Cool.
This is all a little bit optional, because you could miss that out and just say all make ready is the same. I don't want to know how much time operator spends setting machine versus setting job. I just see it as job make ready. It's all the same thing. Yeah, okay, yeah. So up to you. You can configure that how you want to do it.
And that 422 sheets required. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is based on the estimate that's come through, and it's got the reason why it's an odd number. It's not that the job quantity is for 422. It's got the extra sheets for the other finishing processes going through it.
Correct.
So the more processes you've got, the more extra sheets you're going to require to pass on to the next process, so on and so forth.
Yes, it adds those things up as you go. So whatever you need, and what it sends down to AutoCount, which is this, what we're looking at, is it's telling you how many sheets this process needs to complete in order for the next process to make its quantity.
So if you were doing section work, it would be 422 per section potentially, yeah?
Potentially, yeah.
Okay, cool. And the cover would have a different required quantity because it's 4 up or whatever it is on the sheet.
Or whatever, yeah. So it looks at your imposition, looks at how many are needed, and you're finishing beyond the press, and it'll work all that out. And it's telling you this is how many good sheets you have got to make. Yeah. So at the moment, I'm in make ready. Machine stopped again. I'm not doing it. It's just the machine. It's working. It's stopped. I don't have to feed data collection with this stuff because it's doing it automatically. And it's still part of my make ready. Okay. I've wasted 180 sheets and I've consumed them. Such is life. I've still got to make my 422 good sheets. And we can also see this like graphic down here of how much actual time am I spending versus what my plan was.
Okay.
And it gives me as an operator a little bit of a clue of, am I doing all right or am I running behind?
So at the moment it's telling me I'm early on the job because my planned time is whatever it is, that big yellow bar, and my actual is a smaller yellow bar. And if we could be bothered to hang around and it went over, it would tell you were late, basically, yeah?
Yeah, but we don't have about 6 weeks to wait for that time to get itself through. So we'll progress through our quickest ever print job, you like. So when your machine is running, so it has to have a speed on it here, and again, operator has done what they do normally on the shop floor. They make the machine start running. at some point they get to good copy and they need to press a little button to say, I'm now running good copy. This could just be the same button they already press on the machine to say start a counter. We can link into buttons that are already existing on machines. Some people like to have big green buttons they put on the side of a press so that somebody's pushing something different. Either way, that works. But when they press the button, you see this changes to run. So now I've gone into run, and now this quantity is coming down. So it's constantly counting now. Like I needed 422 at the start. I still need some, but it's going to count those down. So as I'm going, it's just reducing that count of what we actually need to produce.
Cool.
It's also reacting to whatever's happening. So if my machine speed slows, like it is at the moment, it's giving us that feedback about whatever that speed is, because it's reading it live from what's going on.
And the schedule looks at that as well. So
schedule looks at that as well.
Yeah, or if I'm behind.
So the schedule should be looking at that as well. We're just going to have to keep a little eye on the time to see what we're doing. So this is the schedule. And here is my job that should be now at the front of my queue, 4531. I should have shown you a little before. It was over here before, planned for a bit later in the day, but it's brought it up to speed there. And it knows, as soon as I've started booking it, it knows that job's happening.
And it knows to bring it forward in the queue because you're printing it basically, yeah?
Basically, yeah. You can see that it's coming through. And it's looking constantly at am I early or late? So at the moment, it's just revising itself. But that's just because it's live time and it's working through it. Give it a couple of minutes and it'll work out I'm going way quicker than the plan, and it'll all come up.
Okay, cool.
Next one, you're probably going to wonder, what happens if the machine stops? What happens, like there's a breakdown on the press or something happens? Well, as soon as the system detects it stopping, it does this. Says there's an unidentified stop. You've got to tell us what is happening in your system. Why have you stopped this? Why has this machine stopped?
Okay.
Obviously, in real life, you set this up. In my system, it comes in 3 seconds because it's a demo. In real life, people set it for 5 minutes. You know, when my machine doesn't run for 5 minutes, I want to know about it. If it stops to 30 seconds, so what? That's just production. So, and then all these stop reasons are the reasons you want to record. What do you want to know? What are your things in your factory? It's all customized.
And those are all reportable on. So you could make a graph of, I don't know, my KBA press has stopped 40 times this month, and it's been an electrical problem 23 times out of the 40, which has cost me 6 hours. Therefore, actually, I need to start bothering about that electrical problem that they told me was going to cost 20 grand to fix or something like that. But that actually is costing me 45 grand over the next year or something like that. So.
Yeah, exactly. So you can report on these. It's a unique code. You see the code number there. It's a unique code you're reporting against. So you could look at like occurrence and time. So it might be that electrical problem happens the most, but it doesn't take much time. And actually, you've got problems with your paper and you need to talk to your supplier. Who knows what it is?
Yeah.
But you have to, as the operator, at some point they have to log this and say, I have had a problem, and what that problem is. The machine won't even let them log off the job if they haven't specified all their problems.
Okay, cool.
So you're always going to get really good information back, and you know it's live because you know as soon as the machine is moving, it disappears off again.
Yeah.
So like operator fixes his machine, does what he would normally do, and starts running. And the second that the machine turns again, it starts to count down again.
Okay, so you can put all those reason codes in at the end of the run or something like that if you needed to, or the end of it.
You could do.
Yeah, but not advisable, but it can be done if you've forgotten about the odd one on the way through, yeah. So.
Yeah, and it also means that the last thing you actually want to do is force your operator to go to a computer screen when he's got a problem with his machine. He just wants to fix his machine and get running. That's his job.
They tend to get a bit stressed when do that, don't they?
So usually once they fixed it and they're all happy, then they'll go back to their computer and go and log it and say, yeah, that was this, that was that. But it means you get really good information back in the office about what actually happened with this job, and all that works through. So we're going to run this on the world's fastest ever press that you've ever seen. So it's going to crank up the speed a little bit on it. And we'll see these sheets go down and all this happening live. So it's worked out. I'm going to run like an hour early on this job now, and we're hitting more sensible speeds that you'd probably see in real life production again now.
Yeah. Okay. So so that's all cool. Anything else to show me on that screen, or is there any other details about the job or for the operators, or do they use the normal system?
They use the normal system to get their job bags, their job information. So this screen is just one for them to log what they're doing, where they log their activities. That's the only thing that they're doing on this one. But what you can see now, I've just gone beyond the run I should go to. You see it's gone into something called overrun.
Oh, yes.
So it's now logging, but I'm using more sheets than I need to go and use.
You naughty boy. And
it's logging. I said run at 18,000, see, it just takes me away from it. And when the machine stops, it also automatically changes to wash up. So again, operator's not doing anything there. They're just running the machine, it stopped, they've run the quantity they need, it knows it's a wash up, and it's recorded these sheets here as well. So a couple of things to note here. One is this quantity here, 756 sheets of paper.
Yeah.
So that is going to get transferred back to our MIS. The same time as all of these things get transferred, make ready, run, the downtime, all of that gets transferred. And the good quantity that came through, that's also going to get transferred. So it's held in the MIS as well, so you can always keep up and see this kind of information. So we'll end the job. Obviously, I could pause it as well, but we finished it, so we'll end it. And we come back to our startup list and says, what's our next job on the list? Where do we go now?
Yeah.
So if we look over a couple of things first, information back in the system. So first off, it updates our production. So it marks that as done.
Yeah.
It moves the status automatically to printed.
And that's the job status, but only because that's only got one run on it, yeah? Otherwise it would do section status.
We've got section status, so we've got part status and job overall status. So
that used to be a major bind for me. That I mean, we'd print the text, yeah, and not print the cover, because it would be marked as printed, or when you printed the cover, because you need to send it out for laminating, the text would be forgotten about or something like that. So, or you'd have to just make sure it got printed, because the job status would change to printed, and you didn't have section status on the previous systems I've used. It was always based on the job, whereas we've got section knowledge, haven't we?
Yeah, so it's section down here, production status of the section number 1, and overall admin status of the job.
Yeah.
So the section status, that changes automatically. The admin one, you may not want to change automatically. In this case, I did, but you might not if you're running lots of section work.
Yeah, it depends on what you want, yeah.
So other things that we get back. So costs come back on our job straight away. So if I just refresh that page, you see it had zeros on it. It's now got actuals. So it's got the plates that we did in pre-press. It's got the material that we've used. And it's got all those little actions, make ready, run, overrun, clean up, electrical problem, all this stuff that we did. It's all live. It's all back. And it's all working that through.
You could report on that by customer, by job type, by press, by operator.
Yeah, I mean, there's almost no limit. You can see it all there. You've got the machine, you've got the type of activity, you've got the operator, you've got dates, you've got customer, you've got jobs. All of that you could report against.
And like that overrun could be a good report. You know, what jobs have I overrun on a month? Yeah, and then because that's wasted sheets effectively, isn't it? So
yeah, so it's costing me paper and it's costing me time. And in this case, only like a pound or a euro, but it could be a lot more. And the last one it gives us is about material. So here's our material. This is what we need to use in stock, our sheets. This is what we plan to use, make ready and running time. You can remember that number that we had, can't you? That you're expecting to come into here on the pooled column. It was 756. But
well, I knew that.
You knew that, of course you did.
I knew that.
But that's come in, and again, there's nothing else has happened here. There's no secret monkey working in the background. This is a system doing all of this stuff. As the operator is running it and pulling it, it's putting live data back in that's going to be really, really accurate because it's what actually happened.
So if you're halfway through a large job and it's 5 o'clock in the evening or whatever, you can just dump in there and go, right, I'll go, oh, look, we're overrunning on sheets or whatever. I'm going to go and order some more, or to make it so that you can complete it, or go and tell who works on the press, Bill, going to tell Bill on the press that he needs to use slightly less sheets, but he should be sticking to whatever his target is up on there. But because it's so clear on the screen, I can't see any reason why an operator would overrun, really. Other than completely accidentally. So
yeah, or they've they had a problem. These things happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll report all that back for you. And the other thing that you get, we've talked a little bit about the schedule, how it is feeding the schedule back. But you've also got a management tool as well. So you as a manager can log in. You can see your actual machines as they're running, but you can also see a whole range of reports on stuff. So you like asking about, can I see downtime reasons? That kind of stuff. That kind of stuff you can do. Average speed that you're running. What are my top waste reasons that I've been getting? How are my things working? You can also set a whole series of reports and even set them to run at scheduled times.
Okay.
So you could say, well, I want to see a summary of my operator, and I want it not just to run when I press run, I want it to run at a schedule when I'm looking for it. So show me my little queue. I've got a little daily summary one here of an operator. Go and run it every weekday and show me what's happened. What happened yesterday? This is not a report for an operator as like a timesheet report. This is for a manager who comes in the next morning to see what we did yesterday.
So we supply those out of the box?
Yeah, that's all out of the box. That's all standard stuff.
But you can write your own as well?
And you can write your own. Well, you can edit the ones that are in there. You
probably
take one and adjust the parameters on it so that it does what you want to do. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, sounds really good. So
does that answer your questions about data collection kind of side stuff?
I think so, yeah. And just to state, you could. I'm surmising that if you've got a pre-press department or a typesetting department or whatever, you can give each individual human being their own login in there, and they can log their time to artwork in and whatever they need to do at that point, at pre-media stage at that point as well.
Yeah, they can. Yeah, I mean, there's no limit to what you set. It's just what you want to report on.
Okay, cool. That'll do me.
Good, right.
Thank you very much.
That keeps you quiet for a little few more hours.
Yeah. Cheers, mate.
See you next time.
Bye.